Hello, my dudes and gals. Welcome to another episode of BagoCast. This is your host, Chris Anderson, as always, and my special guest.
Anna, hi.
And for this BagoCast, we are planning to talk about Code Vein. I know last time we promised we are going to talk about Kingdom Hearts, but that game has a lot to unpack. 1, 2, 3, you look at all of them, they have over like 30 plus hours of cutscenes, story details, characters, concepts. It's like, there's a lot to unpack there. It's like, we'll save that for later.
Yeah, it's going to take us a while to be able to do all of that in a video.
Yeah, especially...
So, in the meantime...
I mean, one Kingdom Hearts game could take an entire BagoCast, because there's so much to dive into.
But...
Yeah. So, we decided we're gonna do Code Vein instead, because we recently bought it on the PlayStation Store. Was on sale for about $30-$20. We bought the DLC, so expect us to talk about that as well.
Yes.
So we played it, and I would say our feelings towards it are generally positive.
Yeah.
For those who don't know Code Vein is a Dark Souls-like game that has the style of anime. People have been calling it Anime Souls, which is fair enough.
The fact it was Anime Souls, I was excited for that.
Yes, there is plenty of anime in this game, that's for sure. So a quick synopsis on the game. Code Vein, like I said, it's a Dark Souls-like game where it takes place in a modern setting where it has gone to hell, essentially. There are these creatures known as the Lost who have gone around killing people, drinking blood. There's revenants running around kidnapping humans to drink their blood, which revenants are essentially vampires of this world. And they are kind of like immortal creatures. They die and they come back to life.
Yes.
And the ones that were the Lost used to be revenants, but they went crazy, or as the game calls it, a frenzy, when they don't get enough blood.
Blood beads.
Yes, the blood beads, yes. Or, bloods from drinking from humans.
Yes.
So you can expect a lot of the, traditions of a Dark Souls in here. It's hard as nails, the game is punishing, you have enemies that will turn you into paste if you're so much of slack off for 0.1 nanoseconds. And there's plenty to look around and find. Well, okay, that last part may not hold true, but we will get back to that later. So, the story of it is that you play as a revenant who recently woke up, who was recently waken up by a big tit anime girl. There is no ifs or buts about it. That is her official title. It's not like shit. No, I'm not going to criticize it just yet. We'll wait that for later. So, anyways, your character wakes up in the desolated ruins of a city, and you're taken to a very much dried up tree. She bites your arm, blood goes to it, and it gives it blood beads.
Your blood has the power to make those things give blood beads. To take a dried up tree and give it life again to be able to make more blood beads. That's what your blood can do.
Yes. And after that, your character gets apprehended by some faction gang that's like, oh, hey, look at these guys. We can use them for work.
Oh, but how they approached him was very suggestive.
Yeah, not gonna lie. This little scene right here is a little suggestive. I mean, it could just
Especially what the dude says at the end. Something.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, let's have some fun. And they have a scene of like two swords near her mouth. Like, it's just a little bit suggestive here. It's like an innuendo here. Like, I swear throughout the entirety of the story, they were kind of begging for this. Like, they were begging for fans to make fan art, fan fictions of these scenarios. Anyway, so your character gets held captive, and you're forced to go find blood beads, because if they don't find the blood beads, something happens to that faction. We don't know exactly what happened to that faction, but we'll get to that. Well, when we get to the criticism side. So from there, you are recruited by this Scooby gang of people who wants to figure out why is there this red mist around the town trapping everyone. They bring up the Blood Queen, figuring out who the Blood Queen is and how does she play a role in all this.
Yeah.
What's the government doing all this? Like, there's like layers and layers of mysteries going on.
And also, too, your character has amnesia.
That is true. That's also another plot point. Your character has amnesia. Same thing with almost with every other character as well. Because apparently, if I got this correct, when you die, or some point in your life, you lose your memories.
Every time you die, there is a chance that you will miss a chunk of something. And the more you keep dying, the greater the chances.
Yeah. So when you go, so your goal is essentially to find these memories, and so you can restore everyone's memories, and they can be happy, hunky dory.
Yes.
So that's generally the plot, and the gameplay is again like Dark Souls. You have your light and heavy attacks. You don't have a shield, but you can parry. You dodge, and you have your special abilities that require magic. Well, in this game's case, it's blood that you have to use.
Blood is your currency.
Blood. Well, it's haze is your currency. Blood is your magic.
Oh.
Yeah. What Code Vein does uniquely different from Dark Souls is that you can have like 8 abilities on you at once from different classes, and you can swap your class on the fly.
That's if you master the skill.
That's if you master the skill.
You have to unlock it first, and then if it can be, there are certain special moves that's actually tailored to that individual blood code.
Yes. If you master it, you can use it for any blood code for any class, which is pretty cool, and each class has its own stats. Some blood codes are stronger in defense or stamina, some are better in the magic department. You know, it's kind of like different variations of tags, DPSs, mages, and so forth.
Basically, what's your fighting style and what makes you comfortable? There'll be a blood veil for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and for me, I'm one of those people, once you find a class and a playstyle, I kind of just stick with it.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't really bother experimenting until closer to the end of the game to see what I can do.
I mean, I would say that we were experimenting along the way and trying new spells and new stuff until we got all of them and found our favorites.
Yeah, essentially that's what we did. There's a lot of experimentation you can do with the gameplay, and I think that's really cool.
Yes.
There's abilities that allow you to teleport, abilities that teleport and attack. There's ones that do a lot, slam damage, area effects. That's what I meant.
Yeah, like shockwaves.
Shockwave, projectile, traps, counterattacks. There's a lot you can work with in this game. There's a lot. And that's pretty cool.
Offensive and defensive.
Yeah, and I am gonna admit, not all the abilities and blood codes are winners. Some of them are a bit disappointing.
I think it depends on your playstyle and if you're willing to put up with some little here and there with the power.
Yeah. But the powers are not limited based on the story. You can also find them throughout the game. You see, what you find is these memory fragments. I believe we mentioned this earlier. That when characters lose their memories, they become memory fragments. And your character has the ability to grab it, look into their memory to learn more about them, and then you unlock an ability from their class.
Yeah.
Which does give it a good instinctive to explore the world so you can get more power.
And in case you're curious, it's the redstone.
Yeah, it's like these little redstones you can find on the ground. They usually have an indicator where they're at with the voices talking.
Yes.
Which is, that's cool to have. That's nice and all to have. Mm. And also, these memories, there's also memories that are tailored to certain bosses.
Yes.
And if you can find all these memories, not only can you get their power, you can also save these bosses. These bosses, well, more specifically, the successors.
Yes.
These people who can hold these relics that used to belong to the Blood Queen, so that way she never reforms them back together and, cause chaos and havoc.
They basically shattered her, so that way different pieces belong to different holders, and so they don't become one. And hopefully don't resurrect her back.
Yeah. So if you save the successors, you get more of a defensive blood codes. More focused on buffing you up, throwing some of them through projectiles and passive abilities. If you choose not to save them, you get more of the offensive abilities.
Bombs, explosions.
Yes.
Big spells. A lot of spells going boom.
Yes, which is my favorite kind of spells because it's great for staggering.
Yes.
Oh, if the enemies run at me, chuck a mine at them. It'll blow them up and stagger them. Oh, they're standing still? Throw a minefield. It'll blow them up. Oh, I'm going to dodge them. They're going to try attacking. I'm going to dodge them. Leave a little bomb behind me. It's like I'm farting at little bombs I dodge.
Here's a present for you.
Thank goodness it doesn't have my smell.
Oh, God.
Whew. Yeah, so there's instinctive to go back and replay the game again if you want to see what those blood codes are and see if they fit your playstyle. Now, be prepared for maybe some disappointment because not all of them are great. Some of them are a bit just or feel like kind of like maybe like a reskin of another ability. There's a bit like that going on in the game, but not too much.
I think with the elements, like with the lightning, fire, and ice, there's like all those spells can do the same things. Like there'll be single ones, there'll be big exploding ones, there'll be little scattered ball versions of them, and there's just like more and more versions of the same element, but doing different things with different damage and different approach.
Yeah. Of course, if you're going to plan on taking on these bosses and enemies and exploring or get all the power, you need the right equipment. You need the right blood veil, which is essentially this game's version of armor. You need the right weapon and right passive abilities.
Yeah.
Blood veils actually have something pretty unique to them, is that they have there's 4 different versions. There's the one with the claw, the spikes, spear, and 2-headed dog things.
And scorpion.
Yeah, that's the spear.
Oh.
Yeah, I just call it spear.
It looks like it's a scorpion tail. You throw me off with spear.
Alright, I'll just call it scorpion tail from now on then.
Okay.
And each one has their own different effects. Like the claw one, you're allowed to parry. And its charge attack, you do a little dash forward and do a swipe. The scorpion tail, well, of course, just like a scorpion, you stab creatures with your tail.
Yeah, there's a tail that will come from your lower back, come out and go up and over and be like in front of your enemy, like your head kind of thing. But
yeah, and then you have the ones that are the thorns, where you summon swords from the ground.
Oh yeah, you have like 2 straps or like 2 fabrics behind you, and they'll reach into the ground, and then blades will come up from the ground, and there'll be a lot of them.
Yeah. I always wonder how in the world do they survive that?
Oh, and it looks like it comes from in them busting out.
I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure that's a kill attack.
Yeah. I don't know how enemies get up from that one.
Yeah, and these blood veils can look pretty cool. Not all of them look great, but if you don't like the style of the veil, you can always go to the settings and make it invisible.
Yeah.
So you just want the stats and nothing else? Awesome. There you go. That's pretty cool. And the weapon variety they have, well, the weapons look cool. A lot of them look really nice. Like you can tell they put a lot of thought into how the weapons designs are.
Yes.
But there isn't much variety of them, and some of them are pretty more obvious which one's better than others.
Yeah.
So you're going to find yourself sticking to kind of maybe like one weapon or so. Once you find the better one, you're going to stick with that the rest of the game.
That's what we did, and it ended up working for us.
It ended up working, yeah. Well, I found myself first, I was using a light sword, then a medium, then a very heavy sword. Then I went back down to the light sword because it was just much faster and it fit my character's design. Well, not design, play style.
Yeah.
Now, this wouldn't be an anime game if you couldn't make your character look cool.
Yeah.
There is a really well done character customization you can do at the beginning of the game. Which there's a lot you can play with here. There's so many different colors and patterns you can play with. Many accessories you can throw on your character. It's limited how many accessories you can have.
I wish that they gave us more. I feel like they gave us half of the accessories we should have had.
Yeah, but Like my guy, he's very Halloween themed.
Your character looks awesome.
Yeah, like I said, you can make your character look pretty damn cool in this game. I've seen other people when I played online. Well, when I could find other people, they always have like a really cool design to them. Admittedly, some of them look familiar because the clothing's limited, but we'll get into that later. Not only does Code Vein mimic Dark Souls, it also kind of mimics JRPGs.
Yes.
You can go grind in the main world like in Dark Souls, but you can also now go to dungeons and grind there.
Yes.
On first glance, that was pretty cool.
Good idea.
Good idea. It was a really good idea, going to dungeons, grinding up the materials you need before heading back to the main world. Good idea. Poor execution, which we will get into as well. But like we said, we're just mostly just focusing on the positives for now because we have a lot of negatives we want to talk about.
We'll get there eventually.
We will get there very soon, matter of fact. Oh, actually, is that the last positive thing? I'm looking at the list of positives we have, and actually, I think that'd be the last one. Let's just wrap up the positives here. There's some decent music in the game. Some of the music's decent, not all of them. My favorite's Lost in Memories, Memory of the Lost.
I think that's the only one we really like.
Yeah, that's the only one we really like. That one was, all the rest is kind of just meh.
Either it's out of place, trying too hard, or it's forgettable kind of thing. It's okay.
Yeah, and for what's worth from the story, spoiler warning, we did not really care too much for the story. But we will admit, there was a lot of really cool concepts here.
Great idea.
Yeah, really.
Not so good
execution?
Yes.
Yes, like the character designs look really cool. The monsters, the bosses, weapons, like all the designs and the concepts are really cool. It's just a shame that everything kind of falls flat.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, ladies and gents, strap right in because we're going to dive into some not so fun poop. Alright,
I would rather you word it. Not so fun time griping about this game that has such potential.
Well, I was thinking about wording it like that, but I was like, poop. I don't know why. My child just side of my brain was like, poop. Say poop.
Because that's your interpretation, your feel for it.
Yes, but I would say my biggest gripe with Code Vein is not the story, the gameplay, it's the world. The only instinctive to ever explore this world is to find the powers and the memories.
Yes.
Other than that, there is no real reason because the world is so boring to look at. You have you can work with a modern setting. Yes, you can. But there needs to be something there to tell a narrative. When you look at this world, you can't really pull a narrative besides shit went sideways.
I feel like a great example for how their background should be is, what was that? Doom Eternal?
Oh, Doom Eternal.
The background for they have modern buildings that is trashed, destroyed, but everything is so freaking interesting about it.
Yeah, like Doom is just like the world, like what I was thinking of was like more like Doom Eternal, like the hell of Doom Eternal, like the world's gone to crap and it's been destroyed, but mixed with like a Victorian London steampunk of like Bloodborne.
Yeah, that's what we wish it would have.
Because that's how the characters look.
Yeah, their costumes, their design feels like it would fit that more than a modern day time.
Yeah, because you look at them, they have that very much that Victorian steampunk London style to them.
Yes.
But they're set in a modern day, so I was thinking
the background doesn't match the characters.
Yeah, so when you look at it, when you really look at these characters and you put them in modern day, they stick out like a sore thumb. Not in a good way. It's not like, say, they come from a different dimension or anything. This is the reality they are from. And this is how everyone dresses even before the calamity started. Which makes, to me, again, there's a total artistic difference going on.
Yeah.
Like, they're clashing.
Yes.
I can understand if they started dressed like this because they became revenants to show that, they're different from everyone else, but everyone else was dressing like this before.
Even the humans.
Yeah, even the humans you find.
Yeah, they dress just like you.
Yeah, it's just like, why couldn't the rest of the world look like us? That even if there wasn't much of a narrative in the world itself, at least it would be very visually interesting to look at.
But it's meh.
It's just meh. And you would think with this world that it's so obviously copy and pasted a lot.
Oh my god.
Like, it gets severely bad in the Orlando negative 0.1.
Oh,
like in other areas, like in the city, in the Halloween pit, or the trenches, like, you could tell they just copy and paste a lot of assets over and over again in that area. But
yeah, you see a bit too much of it.
Yeah, but in the Cathedral of Blood, that becomes so apparent. They didn't even bother trying to hide it.
Nope.
That you see the same domes, you see the same linear hallways, the same enemy types pop up a lot.
Yep.
Even weapons, similar weapons are used a lot as rewards, but as a higher number. And it's just like, come on. You would think with them you copy and pasting so much, this would help the rendering and the frame rate.
Also, too, the weapons that drop, you don't get any real special ones.
Yeah,
because you can get it, like, if you got weapons earlier, you can level it up to 10 when you can. And if you get one, like, that starts at 7, you level it up, it will match.
Yeah.
And
honestly, at times I was wondering, like,
special.
At times I was wondering, what was the point of leveling up this certain weapon when I could have just gone out, find that exact same weapon, but it's already plus 7. Like, that's
a little late when they
give you that. The rewards you get in this game are either recycled or extremely lacklustered.
Yes.
Like, times you go through hell and back, taking on waves and waves of enemies dying over and over just to get a weapon that looks the same as your other one, or it's even worse than the one you currently have. You get a blood veil that you can't use, or you get an RV mastery thing where if you use it, you unlock a new passive ability or ability, and it's garbage.
Yeah.
Throughout the game, I just felt disappointment after disappointment after disappointment with the rewards.
Yeah. Oh my god, when we did the DLC and
we'll probably save the DLC for last. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. It's just like, yeah.
But I just mentioned them because of the disappointments.
Oh man, and it's like, but hey, at least you have plenty of time to find these disappointments because the maps are super fucking confusing.
Also, too, they zoom in not right.
Yeah, the zoom in. Okay, so the maps do handle like a Metroidvania style where you can unlock shortcuts to find your way back in case you die. You need the places faster, and that's all good and dandy. But some shortcuts make no sense. And at times, when you do go out of your way to explore somewhere, it ends up leading to nowhere.
How about the fact the big map has no depth?
Oh man, big depth maps. Like places like the one we're gonna use as reference the most is the one that's Orlando like Cathedral of the Blood. That's what it's called.
Yes.
It is a huge place, and it's so easy to get lost. It's already bad enough that it looks all the same, but the mini map only shows what level you're currently on.
It has a little bit of depth, son.
It has a little depth, but when you look at the big map,
no.
Good luck. It doesn't tell you what level you're on or what things are connected or disconnected.
Yeah, there's no depth, no.
So if you do reach this place, expect to be stuck there for maybe possibly hours.
That's unless you memorize it.
Yeah, listen, even when I did memorize it, when we got to the next part of it where it requires you to go up and down a lot, I got so lost.
Yeah, but we eventually got through it.
We eventually got through it, but damn it, it's like, come on. You really couldn't, like, sprucing it up a bit here once in a while. Throw maybe some statues, maybe some symbolism on the walls.
Something to
look at. Different. Yeah, something that you can clearly indicate where you're at. Without the mini map, it would be so easy to get lost. Yes, Dark Souls doesn't have a mini map, but it's a good way of getting lost. When you get lost, you can find some really cool stuff. And if you have to, just look
landmarks. You can find landmarks.
You can find landmarks. Just look at the environment and it's like, oh, yeah, I see that tower in the distance. I know where I'm at. This one, you can't do that.
No.
You're like, it's a maze at times. It's absolute maze. And I'm going to go ahead and just list the worst places in the game.
What is it, like an anthill? Beehive? Yeah, there's a lot.
Like you see, Anor Londo is just copy and paste, confusing maze. You have a fireplace where the game forces you to take damage.
Forces you to run in the fire.
Yeah, forces you to run in the fire, which I say that's really shitty thing to do.
Hot floor.
Hot lava.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could jump over them, but I can't. There's no jump in this game, by the way. You can only fall.
Yeah.
And let's see, the next place that kind of just sucked was the sand place. Kind of sucked. Because it drains your magic.
If you're a mage, mages are going to hate that place.
Oh, yeah. That's not mage friendly. So, if you're a physical person like my character is, you'll be fine. But if you're a mage like you...
Hey, I got me a good heavy weapon to counterbalance that and make it through.
Yeah. And the thing, when you're going through these areas, you reach to a certain point where they didn't even bother to hide that it was going to be a boss fight.
Yeah.
It was so apparent that you see a big giant room, it's empty, it's square looking, circular looking, and you're like, okay, this is a boss fight.
Yeah.
And you know what? Boss fights are kind of a highlight of this game. They can be a hit or miss. I do enjoy a good boss fight, but what I do enjoy more when there's context to them.
Yes.
A majority of the bosses in this game just show up. I'm not expecting a full-on lore detail about them. I'm not expecting a full-on 20-hour narrative based on them. But some context of, like, why are they here? What were they doing? Of, like, maybe possibly who they were.
Yeah.
Like the only person... Like, the beginning of the game kind of gives you that feeling when the first person you teamed up with for a little bit, he goes frenzied. He turns into a big, giant enemy with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, that's their context right there. But then after that, they just kind of just show up. Like the butterfly lady. Yeah, the characters go like, wait, this is... And then she just pops up and they don't explain who she is, where she came from, or how they know that she was coming.
Yeah.
And then the water lady pops up and she, like, I don't know. That makes... It's just repeat... This happens. The only ones who ever really get, like, a detailed story of why they're here are the successors.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's just like that kind of sucks. And also the successors themselves, I didn't care to save any of them. I really did not care.
What about the little boy?
No, not even him.
Oh.
Not even him. Like, the game tries to pull your heartstring with these characters when you go through, like, the last of the memories. But some of them are just like, I think I hate you now. Like,
this didn't help your cause.
Like the first lady, the lady you come across, like, okay, some little plot details here, is that she is revealed that she's actually one of the reasons why the Queen exists and why this world is the way it is.
How disrespectful.
And she acts so disrespectful to the person she experimented on, who was a good person before they transformed.
Yes.
And she has the audacity to tell the father, like, we need to blow her to hell. It's like, you bitch. It's like, you're a part of the problem. You're the reason why this all happened. You're one of the reasons this all happened. There's other reasons why it does. And it's like, the game tries to tug at your heartstring with these characters, but I just don't feel sorry for them. It's kind of hard to when they don't have much character.
Yeah.
Like, the only characters... Okay, let me list off the characters quickly. There was Lewis, who was your first partner you get. Official first partner you get. He's decent. I mean, he's kind of like the standard anime boy, the noble anime boy.
He's the one that because of him, he takes you to his hideout and sees the Scooby Gang.
And he's also the one that found out that, your blood has the power to mix with other people's blood and give you new powers.
Yeah.
And then you have Yakumo, which is the best bro food, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he puts shields and he stuns and he sends things flying.
And also, he's
awesome.
He's also the embodiment of that constant anime theme of friendship. Like, my friends matter to me the most. My friends give me strength. My friends are the ones who keep me pushing. I will do everything in my power to save my friends.
Yep.
I love my friends so much. By the way, have I mentioned the power of friendship yet? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they got the same writer who wrote Kingdom Hearts. They didn't. It's not... Nomura didn't write this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had a hand in it. Doubt it, though.
Maybe influenced.
Maybe influence, yeah. Like, he's such... Oh, my God. But he was still great to have on the team. Like you said, staggering and shields. Let's see here. Who's next? There was Mia, the gun girl, who is the...
Fast shooter.
She is the sister of the little boy of the successor. Didn't care. Really didn't care. She just shows up, leaves, joins our group. And that's it. That's all about her character, really. Which sucks, because she's so obsessed of protecting her brother. You would think if you do the evil route and not save her brother, that maybe she would kind of mentally break in a way.
We were hoping for that.
Yeah, we were hoping, because as it turns out, each successor is also conveniently tied to the characters you go with. Like,
yes.
Lewis is tied to the first successor, whose name is Karen. Of course her name is Karen.
Yeah.
And she's tied to him. Then you have the fire cat girl who's tied to Yakumo, who was also a former best friend, possible love interest, as well as partner. And then you have here Mia, who is relationship to the little boy. And you would think if you didn't save any of these characters, like save the successors, that those characters, your partners, wouldn't be as happy anymore. They would be kind of down, depressed. Maybe their mood would change.
That's what we were hoping for.
Nope, they just stayed consistent. It was like, well, that was disappointing. What set the tone of saving these successors didn't really change the story besides the ending is when the first successor. First time you save her, you encounter Jack and Eva, and Jack knows, you have the power to make the relics, the successors, calm down. And he's like, oh, join our team? And then he leaves. Alright, then what happens if you don't save the successor, you let them turn to dust? He says the exact same thing. We calmed her? We killed her and took her power.
We absorbed her.
We didn't calm shit. And it was just that's disappointing. So my expectations from the rest of there was pretty low.
We were hopeful, though.
We were hopeful, and it just kept on meeting those low expectations. Sure, there was a slight difference in some of them, but they boiled down essentially to the same thing again.
Yeah, some dialogue or something was cut out.
Actually, the one that I think I was the most disappointed about was Jack and Eva's. Because Jack and Eva, to me, are the most interesting characters in the game.
Yes.
Because Jack is a former soldier who took part in taking down the Queen. Is revealed that he has a connection to you, and that the stories that you heard about him are not entirely true. That he's not just this evil hunter going around killing revenants.
Yeah.
He has his reasons. He's trying to find the successor. And the girl, and the woman he has with him is Eva, who is obviously in love with him. There's no denying that.
You could tell there's an attraction between the two.
And that she wants to help because she feels very sorry for him. So she makes herself become a successor.
Temporary.
Temporary though. Temporary. And I like their dynamic, how they work together. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. So I was really hoping is that when she goes frenzy because the bad guy of the game, Hawkmoth, Mito, he infected her with something that made her go frenzied. And when you save her, they have a little touching reunion. It's like, oh, that's sweet. And when we let her die, I was hoping Jack would just be filled racked with grief and anger. That's what I was hoping for. Nah, he just goes, well, straight to the point. We gotta go fight Mito at his at the base over there. It's like, really? Not gonna take time to grief about this? Lay out that you're angry.
Or ask her, was there anything else? Was there any hope or any, something, some form of grief?
Something, yeah. Like, these characters don't really grief at all. It's like, come on. It's like,
all the characters are secretly assholes.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, yes. The characters throughout the game love to harp about, we're your best friends. We will never leave you. We will always stay by your side. And that stays, well, hold on. That stays true if you get the best ending of the game. But if you get the neutral ending or the bad ending, well, actually mostly just the neutral endings, your character... Okay, before we go into that, I guess we have to go a lot more into the story of the game. We have to go a lot more into the story because I feel like there's a lot of context to be missing here.
Yeah.
Alright, so in the game, you go throughout, first you're trying to find a good supply of blood beads because your group is low on them. They keep taking you back to a place which leads you to Andorlando, Cathedral of the Blood, where you fight the first successor. This is where we reveal that these successors are all part of the queen. They can't kill the Blood Queen because she's the most powerful. They stabbed her in the heart. She regenerated. They tried blowing her to pieces. She regenerated. The only solution they had was to break her into pieces, into relics, and then store them into certain revenants who were compatible with them. Yeah. But the problem is this is only a temporary solution. Because if they go frenzied, that will lead to the queen coming back together.
Yeah, because when the host goes frenzy, it's going to go searching for its other pieces.
Yeah. So your character, based on if you got all the memories or not, you can save them and get the good ending, and if you don't save them, you get the bad ending. So throughout that, you fight the First Lady who gives you a huge exposition dump of what's going on. Then after that, your goal is set to find the other successors, either save them or drain them of their power.
Yeah, absorb them or...
And along the way, you learn about another character called Mito. And for us, we just called him Hawkmoth.
Oh my god, the moment he spoke, I was like, Hawkmoth?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, Hawkmoth? This guy sounds very strangely familiar to Hawkmoth. It turns out when we looked up his voice actor, it is the same guy. So when we had that in our heads, we just couldn't take him seriously anymore. Well, we could take him seriously before because he's just that cliched evil scientist who believes human evolution progress is worth all the suffering and inhumane experiments.
I couldn't help but crack a joke going, Hawkmoth, you're taking a break from Cat Noir and Ladybug, I see.
Ladybug and Cat Noir, you have defeated me this time, but when I get back, I'll have the power of the Blood Queen, and then your miraculous will be mine. It's just a shame, because they could have done a lot with Mito. They really could have. They want to make a bastard villain that they want you to hate. They don't make him so gosh darn cartoony. One of the first lines that he's...
I think he just has fun with that voice.
Yeah, I think he's just having a lot of fun with his voice. I'm glad he's having fun, because I had fun with Mito a bit, despite all of his cliches. Because, one of the things that really sets the tone for the character is that after, an emotional moment reunion, Mito goes, "What a touching reunion. Matter of fact, it almost made me laugh." It's like, alright, they really set the bar of what this character's going to be. And he is exactly that. If to take a shot for every cliche he does, be careful though, you might get intoxicated, and we are not responsible for that, by the way. Please be very careful.
Just don't do it, no.
Yeah, so as throughout the game you learn more about him, and later on it's revealed his master evil plan. And his evil plan is that he wants to create something so powerful enough that it fights the horrors. Now, we don't know much about the horrors yet. Just like every anime villain, he's very much obliged to giving us a huge exposition dump of what they are.
Yeah.
So it's revealed that, turns out, Mito's plan is that it's not to resurrect the queen, is to have enough power to fight the horrors and get rid of the red mist. Because turns out, the red mist that's been planted there to bury everyone inside is actually to keep everyone safe from the world outside, because it's now running rampant with the horrors there. Essentially, the outside world's fucked.
Yeah, instead of being trapped in the bubble, it was revealed that you're actually protected in the bubble.
Yeah.
Because the rest of the world is screwed.
And so Mito's thought is like, alright, I'm going to do all these terrible experiments because we need something to beat those nightmares. And for some sorts, I get it. Like, yeah, but let's face it, he was more into the thrill of experimentation than actually helping people.
He's a monster.
Well, yeah, but he's a cliched monster.
Doesn't matter, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster. And it's just like, okay, cool. Can we fight those horrors eventually? Do we get to see more about them? Nope. The only thing is DLC, which we'll be getting to very soon. And then you learn more about this other character who we barely know about. He's the father of the Blood Queen, who's also the general of the Revenants. And he's the one that's producing the Red Mist.
He also seems to be like a protector. He was able to make barriers and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't learn much about him. I can tell they kind of want him to become like the equivalent to Lord Gwen. This character who did a bad thing, but they had good intentions.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I want to feel sympathy for this character because his daughter became the Blood Queen. Everyone hates him. And it's like there needs to be more about him. You don't know much about him. You barely know anything of him. He quickly gets rid of his emotions. So we don't learn that he was like racked with grief after essentially killing his own daughter.
Yeah.
He just willingly just killed her, willingly to kill her. And he willingly just sat on the throne to forever hold up the red mist. It's like,
hold up the barrier.
And it's like, yeah, see, this is what we're talking about. Like, there's a lot of cool concepts in the story.
It's just the execution about it is meh.
Yeah, it's just meh. There needs to be more. That's why the environment, the world is very important to telling this narrative.
Yeah.
That could actually probably fix the majority of the story's problems if they did that. The memories are supposed to act like that, but the memories don't offer much.
Also, too, if I have to say something, the game to me feels a little bit short.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it feels like there's certain, like, plot points that were, like, we didn't go back to, or that we didn't see. Like the people that captured you in the beginning of the game, and you hear that they're doing this with a lot of people, and, you know, capturing humans to drink their blood. And it's like, once you escape, you never go back and, like, set the people free or, you know, take those people down and try to have the right people go to, what were they called? Shelters?
Government shelters.
You know, instead of being out on the street.
Yeah, it's like there's like those plot points right there they don't go back to. And some things they do.
Like they need to.
Yeah, and some things they do introduce, like the horrors, for example, they barely dive into it. And that's such a shame because, again, we're not going to get into the DLC just yet here. And it's just like, you start to notice that some plot points feel a little bit rushed, and some character developments are also rushed, and there's a severe lack of character development overall. And back on track with the story. After you beat Mito, instead of turning to dust, he explodes because, of course, he's the villain.
Yeah.
It's revealed that someone's going to have to sit on the chair to keep the red mist up to protect everyone from the horrors, which is revealed in the cutscene as big giant monsters. Huge suckers. Like, we're talking about possibly not skyscraper levels, but building size suckers.
Okay.
Like, they're building size. Like they are very hard to kill. So that's where. So based on if you saved everyone, you get the good ending where turns out the girl you kept with you all along. She's so thankful that you put so many memories in her. Io, that's her name. Io. She's so thankful that you gave her so many memories that she turned into a tree, and that somehow keeps up the red mist and gives you a little blood bead that allows you to disperse the mist so you can leave to the outside world.
She gave you a golden one.
A golden one, yes. And that's the best ending. And of course, all your pals come along with you, and all the people who were successors, big giant monsters, are turned back to their human forms.
Yes.
The neutral ending reveals that your best friends are quite assholes.
Yeah, they claim they're going to be there for you, but nope.
Nope. They claim we will stand by your side. We will be there for you. Your best friends are soulmate. You go sit in the chair, you're by yourself. The only one who's keeping you company is Io.
Yeah.
They don't even move their base in there.
That's what I was saying. I was like, man, they need to move their base so you don't feel lonely on that chair.
I mean, yeah, their base is cool and all. I'm not gonna lie, they have a really cool looking base, which also conveniently has a hot spring. Not sure how they got that lucky, but whatever. And it's like, come on. So it's supposed to be like this very sad ending, kind of sad ending there. And then you have the bad ending where if you absorbed all the relics and their powers, apparently that's too much for your character at the end. They start to go frenzied. But even despite that, they still try to calm the last relic. But that ends up breaking the camel's back.
Yeah.
Because you have all those relics inside you now.
Which means you have all the queen pieces.
And so the queen takes over. Now, admittedly, I was super excited for this ending. Because I was like, oh boy, here we go. 7 hours of hardship, of letting people die, not giving a shit. Here we go. Here's my reward. Everyone dies and the horrors get loose. Correct? Your character gets possessed by the queen. She has her thorns out, ready to attack. And then you just die. Someone goes from behind you and stabs you in the back. Through the heart. And that's it. You go down like a chump. And then Lewis sits on the chair.
Yeah, your character's supposed to be like a god.
And my thought was like, wait a second, hold on. Didn't they state the queen couldn't die? They even reduced to ashes, she'll come back?
Yeah.
Even, sure, they stabbed her in the heart, but she's the queen. I'm pretty sure being reduced to ashes is more of a great significance than your character turning to ash.
Yep.
Because they made a big deal about that. Because if that was the way to kill the queen, then why not just do that?
Yeah.
Like, what?
And it didn't work the first time over.
Yeah, it didn't work the first time. That's why they had to say, let's separate her into relics. But nope. There's nope, it works now. It's like, why? And so, yeah, so you get this really anticlimactic, crummy ending where everyone's just sad and moping around. And part of me was wishing, I wish the horrors would bust through right now and eat all of you. I was like, that would be the only... and, it's not say the normal or good ending's even much better, to be honest.
Yeah, they still abandon you.
Well, no, the good ending, they come with you. The neutral ending, they abandon.
Don't.
Yeah, the neutral ending, they don't. They abandon you.
And the bad ending, they don't.
They kill you. And the good ending, they come with you. But the problem is with the good ending, that is way overly too happy. Doesn't help the song they put in there is super cringe. It doesn't fit.
That's a problem with this game overall. There's a lot of songs that do not fit or is meh.
Yeah, we noticed that quite a bit. And so, like, the endings just leave you disappointed.
Yeah, it's such potential. Bad execution.
Yeah, I would say the code veins concepts, like, if this was, like, I feel like this would be, like, a really good, launching off point for a sequel to dive into the horrors, the so-called horrors they were talking about.
Yeah, and follow your rules that you set.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. Like, yeah, alright, I'll give it a chance in that area. But there is actually something that allows us to actually fight the horrors and learn more about them. And that's through the DLC. And just like the DLC, well, just like the depths, the DLC is bad. It's disappointing.
The maps are better than the dungeons.
Let's talk about the dungeons real quick, so we can give a really good comparison here. So we mentioned earlier that the game has depths, these dungeons that you can go down to and grind. What I do like about it is that yes, you can grind. You can also refight bosses again, which is a feature I wish they had in Dark Souls 3. I don't care about getting the reward, I just want the satisfaction of a fight.
Yeah.
And I like that. Not all the bosses are fightable again for some reason. Like, Hawkmoth is not, the first successor is not.
The last boss.
Well, you can fight the boss over and over again at the end of the game because it rewinds the clock before you do fight the boss.
Yeah.
Which, that's cool. And that's pretty neat. But the bosses, the mini bosses they have that you go through to collect the keys. Well, actually, you don't have to fight them to collect the keys. These mini bosses that you fight are just essentially just standard enemies, just slightly jacked up.
Yeah.
Like, you go through this fog, well, through the player, through the...
the main player doesn't see the fog, but...
your partner.
You're in co-op, your co-op partner will see the fog.
Which I will quickly say, I like the fact that Code Vein is very co-op friendly.
Yes.
That is something we forgot to mention in the positives, but we're mentioning it now. This game is very co-op friendly. If you want to summon your friend on the fly, no matter where you're at, you can just simply put in a password. You don't need to put a summon sign. But you also have no control of who you're summoning. So if you want a mage, you probably get a tank in the end.
Or
something
whoever,
else.
Or
whoever. So that's pretty nice.
But if you put a
password down.
Yeah, password.
Then you can summon your friends directly.
Yeah,
which, again,
cool.
as we mentioned, that's pretty neat. So it's back to the depths. Through the depths, in order to fight the main boss, you have to collect keys. Now, in order to collect these keys, you have to explore the depths. And next, when you're exploring the depths, you find these mini bosses. Now, you don't have to beat the mini bosses to get the keys.
Unless it requires it, but some of the later ones,
don't.
You find the key before the boss fights, and
these boss fights, we're gonna put in quotes here, in the world's most massive quotes, as I stated, they're normal enemies just slightly jacked up.
Except for the last boss, but that's in the later dungeons. The recent, the beginning dungeons, we just fight jacked up creatures, if I remember right.
Yeah, and what's just like the main world itself, these dungeons are so boring.
Oh.
All of them have a very similar layout, just different color filters and aesthetics. That's it.
One boss room, 3 branches.
Or it can either be
or
one
2 branches.
Yeah, it can be either one boss room with 2 to 4 branches. And with all branches with
we'll
just
have mini bosses.
Yeah, with long branches of long corridors that don't vary off anywhere else. There's not much exploration. There's no secrets to find besides memories, but again, that's if you like that memory's powers or not.
Oh yeah, some memories some of the code. What is it called?
Blood codes.
Blood codes. Some of the blood codes are going to need you to get certain memories to unlock them. They're going to look kind of corrupted.
Yeah.
Looking. Those are the ones that you need to get memories of to remember, to help said person remember to unlock that.
Yeah. You have to decipher the codes, and once you decipher the codes and pay a certain amount of money, you can master it and use it for any class. And as long as you have the stats that meets it.
Yes.
And so these depths, like, it's such a wasted opportunity to do something really cool. Because a lot of them a majority of them feel all the same.
Yeah.
The mini bosses are super disappointing.
Not memorable.
Yeah, memorable. And the main bosses, well, there's some of them that we did enjoy fighting. There's also a good some of them where we're like, this is boring or complete bullshit. Oh, honestly, my least favorite type of boss fight in Code Vein was the big bosses. The big giant enemies.
Yeah.
Because they just essentially kind of just feel the same, man. When you fight a lot of them, just the threat level of them goes down.
Oh yeah, that's one thing too we ran into, is that everyone is floaty.
Yes.
Everyone is super fast and floaty. No enemies feel different from each other. There's no weight.
Yeah, none of the enemies feel like they have weight.
They're all super fast and zooms all over the place.
Yeah, none of them really feel like they have weight to each other. They all feel very similar. You can just use the same tactics over and over again for every single one and still win. And it's like, that's kind of the point, because this doesn't really, beg the player to try different abilities and different tactics. Sure, some bosses require that, so I did find myself replacing some abilities to certain bosses, but that was about it. And there's a certain type of bosses I absolutely hate the most. I find the big giant bosses to be annoying because they're just slow and it feels similar to all the others. And then you have the bosses that are just infuriating the fight because they zip around the goddamn screen like you're fighting baboos on crack. One particularly, surprisingly, when we first played through the game, we thought Mito was the hardest boss in the game because his attacks have such long range. He can disable your abilities. He does crazy amount of damage.
Yep.
And for our first playthrough, that was true. He was the hardest. Then our second playthrough, there was a boss before him that turned out he is the most bullcrap. And that's like this samurai knight guy with a halberd. His first phase is not too bad. You can cut down his health pretty fast. His second phase is a nightmare.
It's bullshit.
Because all of his moves are he attacks everywhere. He zips around all the goddamn screen, and he does crap tons of damage.
Oh my god, he can go from one part of the map to the in the battle arena to the next so freaking fast. He can take out 3 people consecutively. Just bam, bam, bam. It's just like, what?
Yeah, it's like, that to me, those type of bosses are not fun to me. Because really all you're doing is just dodging, wait for them to get done with their long, stupidly overly long combo, just so you can do a couple of hits and back off.
Yeah.
And to me, those type of boss fights were not fun. And to be honest, majority of the boss fights in this game were not that memorable. It's already bad enough that they don't have much context of why you're fighting them.
Or
who they are. It's also really bad that their music is forgettable.
Yes.
You will hear certain themes get replayed over and over and over when you fight bosses.
Yeah.
And we did try listening to the music without the game, and we just couldn't get into it.
There was only one song we cared for.
And that was The Loss of Memory. Memory of the Lost. That's the only one I liked.
Go down memory lane in the game.
Yeah, that one I liked. But the other is just is either cringy, trying too hard,
or out of place.
Or out of place. Especially the best endings music. It's like this.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's complete. Oh, there's another one that's complete out of place. This is during the fight with Jack and Eva. Yes. Where it starts playing that rock song or whatever, and they also play for that intro anime scene.
Yeah.
It's this game is also trying to be AMV. For those who don't know, anime music videos, where they essentially take an anime, some fight scenes, add a shaky effect to it, and put a song that's about fighting courage, not going down, the standard tropes of anime.
Yeah.
And it was just Yeah, I don't find myself listening to this soundtrack again. Matter of fact, I'm having a hard time remembering the game soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's strange because when we play Dark Souls, when we fight the boss, we can clearly hear the music in the background.
We could even recognize, like, oh my god, that's that such and such boss. It's like they're memorable, but this game's music is no.
Yeah, I barely notice it. I even have the music turned up so I can hear it better, and I still barely notice it. It was just kind of like just that bland, forgettable fight music you would get. That's what you get.
Or cringy.
If there was like a generic category for orchestrated music, it would fit in that category.
Oh yeah.
Cause to me, like when you go to Dark Souls, like the music in there, like the music really complements the boss fight, gets you in the mood, it sets the tone.
It's also of the era.
Of the era as well. Code
That's it.
Vein, on the other hand, it seems to have a mixed bag of them. It has music that's trying to replicate Dark Souls. It's trying to have music that's going to appeal to people who make anime music videos. It has music that's trying to appeal to anime fans. It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. This game, it's a mess. There's a lot we do like about it. I know for the majority of this video, we've been really tearing apart, but that's only because
we actually enjoyed playing it. It's just so many things. Was it disappointing?
Yeah, another thing
and if they make a number 2, we hope that it doesn't repeat all these mistakes from number 1.
And there's a couple of problems we need to address real quick before we get into the technical side of the game. Ooh, yeah, so let's wrap up some of the main problems, bad design choices, we should say. Okay, here's one. Side quests. They're absolutely meaningless.
Well, with a couple of characters linking down the line and like you help people with a shelter and all that, that's pretty cool. But the other guy, I feel like it went nowhere.
Like there's some side quests you can do, and most of them boil down to go here, kill an enemy, go here, collect an item, bring it back, and that's about it. And the rewards you get are just not up to par. They give you like these lost crystals that you can crush for souls. But the thing is, with these lost crystals, you can easily go find them in the main world or in the depths.
Yeah,
it's not like you don't get like
they don't give you anything special.
Like you don't get their costume. You don't get the clothes. Which, by the way, that's something we forgot to mention, is that we mentioned earlier that there wasn't much clothes to pick from. And that is true.
That's the armor, but also the outfit itself and character customization is so limited. And you can't even mix and match pieces or nothing.
Yeah, sure, you can change its color to a huge extent. But in the end, you're wearing the same thing, just different colors.
Yeah, you could take some parts off, put some parts on, but there's no mixing and matching, and you only have like, what, 7?
6 or 7 clothes to pick from?
Something like that.
Well, design clothes, don't get me wrong. It's just,
it feels like it needs more.
It needs more. Like, why isn't when we do these side quests or we fully help our friends, why don't we unlock their costumes? Yeah, sure, the costumes don't need any, buffs or anything. Just, cosmetic-wise.
Yeah, why can't we get the NPC outfits?
Yeah, like Dark Souls 3 allows you to do that.
Yeah, like, that's kind of lame. I'm seeing, like, these characters with outfits we can't wear, and I don't understand why not.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, come on.
Even in the DLC too, it would have benefited greatly if we could have got ourselves some new outfits.
Yeah,
for us, not the NPCs.
Yeah.
Well, the NPCs can have, of course, they can have the outfits, but what about the player? The player needs more.
Yeah, the player needs more. Alright, so here's another thing in the game. You can't trade items with other players.
No.
In Dark Souls, you can only trade certain items. If you have the same level, if a player has a weapon that's the same level as the one you're holding, then you can trade them. You can drop, souls. You can drop other items. But there are certain items you can't drop, like Estus Flash Charge, whatever. So you can't do that. Wasn't too bothered by that, to be honest. Wasn't really too bothered.
Oh, also, too, speaking of the Escus flask.
The healing thing?
Yeah, we could only have, 10 for our health, right?
Yeah, 10. And you can upgrade it 5 times.
Yeah, and even if you play the game over and you collect those things again, it's not going to go any higher than 10.
Yeah, which is a bit of a bummer because you would think when you go on New Game Plus, they would just allow you, especially since there is no PvP in this game. So why should we care if we're so overpowered that we essentially break the game? Like,
yeah, but also, too, it gives us a good chance, because if you keep raising the difficulty, it's gonna feel handicapped after a while, because the enemies will get stronger, but you can't.
Yeah, the max level you can go to is 300. And these enemies will kill you fast on the hard difficulties.
Yeah, if you're not careful.
Yeah, if you're not careful enough. And it's just like, come on. So let's bring up some design choices that weren't so good. There's dialogue options in this game, which are absolutely meaningless. You can pick whatever and you get the same results. So that's cool. No, that's not cool, but...
No real impact.
Yeah, no real impact there. Oh, here's the thing. If you're planning to buy this game, bring a friend with you. Because playing single player is a nightmare. Because its difficulty is through hordes of enemies. Hordes of enemies who have great attack range, move very fast, and can cut your half off like it was made out of paper. Yeah, we found that out in the Tower of Trials, which that can go crawl up a thumb up for all I care.
Oh my goodness.
Because even, sure, the Tower of Trials are super hard, but the rewards you get aren't worth it. They're super lackluster. Matter of fact, I got those same rewards by just playing Go Somewhere Else in the game.
Yeah.
So it's like, fucking hell. Could they not think of lamer rewards? Oh, wait, they did in the DLC, which we're going to get to very soon. We mentioned earlier that you can pick your classes on the fly. You can pick whatever classes. Now, here's the thing. Certain armors and weapons are obviously tailored to those classes.
Yes.
So, if you are a mage-like character. Do not expect to wield any big sword anytime soon. Because if you do essentially 0 damage. And that you could easily... Now, some will say, oh, you can fix that problem by upgrading your level stats. Well, not in this game, you can't. Because the level stats are, when you level up, it goes up automatically. Well, you still put points into it like in Dark Souls, but you have no control what points go into what. The game does that for you. And see, within Dark Souls, if you upgrade your character high enough, say you get all their stats to 45 or whatever, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Your character can wield whatever they want. Hell, you don't even have to get that far. You can still wield majority of the items and materials without leveling up too high.
Yeah.
And you can mix and match all these different armor pieces and clothing together to get really cool, unique designs that really speak volumes of your character and your playstyle. There's a lot. Overall, I still think Dark Souls 3 does the whole customization and classes better than Code Vein does. It's unique with Code Vein, but still prefer Dark Souls 3 in that category. Alright, so I think there's a couple more things we need to wrap up here on the bad side of things. Here's another thing that we found really annoying. Why is every single gosh darn door in this game locked? And why do these doors require levers, which also requires keys?
Yeah.
There's one area that gets really excruciatingly annoying with it. Is the one that's essentially kind of it's like Inner Rondo, but it's inside.
Yeah, it's in.
You
literally this time.
You literally find a key to pull a lever that's in front of a door. Why couldn't we just get this key to unlock the door?
Yeah, why is there no push door animation?
Yeah, that's why I think that's the reason why, because they don't spend more money on making animations. And it's just annoying. Why even have the door locked there to begin with? Because the key is literally 2 feet away from us. It just feels pointless at times. Just to arbitrarily extend the time or to annoy you.
Yeah.
Oh man. I believe that's about it for all the design choices that we have a problem with. Now let's go to the technical side of things.
Oh boy.
Okay, so when you go into multiplayer, there is this glitch that will make you infuriated. If you are the person that is summoned, there is a great chance when you're rolling, you will either A, be magnetized to the boss, even though you're trying to roll away from them.
Oh, I hated that.
B, you start rolling over the place without no control, and then you end up rolling off a cliff. That's happened to me.
Or the camera tweaking out.
Or the camera tweaking out super bad. Or the rolling not working at all.
Yep.
There has been plenty
or buttons not registering sometimes.
Or buttons registering at times. Oh yeah, it's just like, that's annoying. So you'll end up getting hurt a lot because of that.
Yeah, unnecessarily.
And you constantly need your partners to bring you back up. The only partner you can rely on is your other friend, not the NPC partner.
Yeah, the NPC partner is
Because I believe
unreliable.
Because I think during Mito's experiments, I think the characters may have been lobotomized. Yeah, they're really dumb at times. They are super dumb. Like, there's times where you're down, you're like, okay, heal us. Nope, they just stand there and just roll around. And at times
or they just stand there and do nothing.
Yes,
which was really bad at times.
Yeah, it was really bad. And if you get into close corridors and lock onto something, your camera will freak out. And there's also times where you try locking onto something, the lock-on system locks onto the enemy who is 200 miles away, doesn't pose a threat to you at all. Not the enemy who is right around the corner and is about to take a stab in your throat. Nope, the enemy's far away. That happens a lot. So the lock-on system needs to be fixed. There's also, we've noticed in times when we're playing multiplayer, that our attacks will go right through the boss. So you can be like wailing on the boss and the boss won't take any damage. That was super annoying. And also, speaking of that, the best tactic to work on these bosses is to gank up on them. Once they get stunned down on the ground, everyone just pile on them. Their health drops down quickly.
Oh, yep. Overwhelm them.
Yeah, just overwhelm them. And like we mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned this yet, but I'll mention it again. The game does a lot of copy and pasting, and when it does that, you think they're doing that to save on rendering times and stuff like that. No, there are times the frame rate drops like a slideshow, and there's times the characters' textures don't pop in until later.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's like they're like kind of like it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the things are painted on them for a second. They didn't look like they have eyebrows. It looked like someone painted eyebrows on them.
Yeah. It's all blurred weird.
Oh, jeez. And then we did find a weird couple glitches here and there. Like when I summoned you, you were spawned in the fog for some reason.
Yeah, I was stuck in the fog.
And there was times that it would spawn you right in the middle of danger, so you get hit immediately.
Yeah, spawned me in fire.
Oh, speaking of spawn and fogs, when you reach Mito, they did this really puzzling thing where they put two fogs.
Back to back.
Back to back. My thought is like, what's the point of the first fog? What's the point? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's another fog after that, so if you summon some before that, they're most likely going to have to wait till they start the boss fight, and when they do that,
they got a bit of a ways to run to the boss.
Yeah, it's like, why would they do this? Thankfully, when you unlock that little needle thing, you can just teleport right to your partner, which is a pretty nice mechanic, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Alright, and I believe that wraps up the technical sides of it. Before we jump into the DLC, is there anything else that we need to...
Did we go into depth? Oh, did we go on the rewards of the depth?
Oh, yes, the rewards of the depths. That's more of a design choice. We've already mentioned this. We'll bring it up right now. The rewards of the depths are pretty lame. You can find chests in the game that gives you weapons, which we already stated, are pretty similar. Nothing really different. And when you beat the boss, when you beat the depths, you get materials to master abilities, and you get money, and you get things to upgrade your weapons and armor with, and that's it. And these rewards are repeated.
What's that one that me and you went to? That's part of the DLC, I believe. That we went into a thing where it's like you had to go from floor to floor.
Floor to floor. Oh, that's the tower. The Tower
Battle
Trials. We brought that up earlier. Yeah.
We can talk about the rewards on that one. That one's another one that has.
Yeah, I think I already.
Not so good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think. What was the rewards you get for that? Is like a sticky trap, I think, and something else. And they're both extremely lackluster. Now, we didn't go and beat the other towers 2 and 3, because when we looked at the rewards suck.
Yeah, it wasn't really worth the effort.
It wasn't really worth the torment. I actually got so frustrated with the Towers of Trials, because the game essentially punishes you for playing a certain playstyle, that I actually threw my controller on the ground and broke it a little. I was so mad at it. Because, like we said, with hordes of enemies coming at you, all of them moving super fast, doing crap tons of damage, I mean, you have to stay on the move a lot. You stay on the move a lot, and when you move a lot, you're out of stamina. If you're out of stamina, you're going to get staggered easily.
Yep.
I don't see how anyone could really enjoy playing that by yourself, because it seems just torture. Yeah, I don't recommend that playing by yourself. Heck, I don't even recommend playing it at all. Because the environment they put you in is pretty boring. It's pretty lame.
Yeah, you're just in a big round thing.
Yeah, it's like...
And you gotta go each floor down.
And then at the end, you fight essentially a supercharged version of a boss that you defeated. Now, the supercharged version of the boss is not Kingdom Hearts 3 levels of data bosses we're talking about here. We're not talking about that absurdity of difficulty. We're just like they hit harder, essentially.
Yeah,
they don't have
additional. Goes on to a little too long.
Yeah, their healths are extended and they do more damage. That's all they did to make it more challenging.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that wraps up all the technical and design problems of the game.
Should we talk about the DLC now?
Yeah. Okay, let's go into it.
All right,
so the DLC of the game covers the horrors, the leftover horrors that are trapped inside the city, and you learn about the person who found the depths. That's about it. Because, see, here's the weird thing. When the DLCs were released, if I heard correctly, that they were all released at the same time, with no hype behind them, they were just released.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay... I was like, okay, fine. As long as they add additional story and the boss fights are really cool, it'll be worth the payment. Just like Dark Souls 3. Except, Dark Souls 3 adds a lot more.
Yeah.
So you get into these, they're essentially more depths.
Yeah.
And I'll hand it to them. These depths are more interesting. They don't feel the same as the DLC depths. But regardless, still pretty...
You mean the DLC depths don't feel like the original depths.
There we go. That's what I meant. Yeah. And so there's a bit more exploration and stuff to do, but not really much. And the story you get is just about the guy who found the depths, and that's it. Whoopee. It's like, oh, is this really it?
So the creatures' designs... Some of them are interesting.
Yeah, some of them are interesting. I have to admit, some of them are pretty interesting. The horrors, their designs are really cool. I like them. And they are a fun fight. Fighting these big giant monsters. I mean, they are challenging. They have a crap ton of health too.
Oh yeah.
They are challenging. And what's interesting, they added a little reward list for fighting these bosses.
Yeah.
Like if you survive against this boss for 300 seconds, you get all these rewards. You do this amount of damage to this boss, you get these rewards. Sounds pretty handy. Sounds pretty nifty. Gives you encouragement to do it over and over again. The problem is most of the rewards are lame.
The rewards you get for your NPCs is cool and all.
Yeah, you get new outfits for them.
But the rewards for yourself, for your character, is lame.
Like the weapons you get for your characters are just essentially reskins of previous weapons.
And the stats are different.
You get armor, new armors, which are essentially just reskins of older armors.
Yeah, but it's changed stats.
Change.
Better.
And what I thought was pretty cool at first was that you could actually change the difficulty level on these bosses from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And each time you beat the boss on a hard difficulty, you unlock a new reward. Again, sounds cool, sounds interesting. What is the lamest reward they came up with for this?
Stickers on your face.
That's it. That is literally it. You put yourself through hell to fight these bosses, these behemoths of creatures, on the hardest difficulty. Just get a sticker on your character's face. No new powerful weapon, no new magic, no new armor,
outfit.
Nothing. Just a sticker. Whoop de fucking do.
And all the DLCs rewards
Or like this.
Are that. Yeah.
It's like, what a waste. What an absolute waste. Like, let's compare this to the Dark Souls 3's DLCs. The Snow Place and the Ring City. What do you get in the Snow DLC? Well, you unlock an entirely new world, which has its own secrets and collectibles and boss fights.
And a story to tell.
Not to mention also the final boss of that Snow Place is freaking awesome.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it gives you great reward and also really kick-ass music to go with it.
He's so good.
And let's see here, the Ring City, that has like 2 new places, which are, by the way, huge to explore, with some really kick-ass hard boss fights. It also includes one of my favorite boss fights, Gale.
Yes, same here.
Not all the rewards you get in the DLC are great. Sadly, the throwing the little Destructo disc is super lame.
But basically what we're saying is that Dark Souls, like their atmosphere, their mapping, their rewards, is so much better.
Oh my gosh, so much better.
Than Code Vein.
Not all of them are winners, but there's so many. So many weapons you can experiment with. Each one feels like it's rewarding in its own way. And with this one, it's not like that. When you pick up a new weapon, or when you get a new weapon from the DLC, it functions the same as the other ones. You get a new armor. What can it do? It functions the same as the others with different stats and also kind of shitty stats, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, all of them look like shitty stats compared to what you get in game.
Yeah, like I get like a bumblebee cape that gives me an 8 in strength, but nothing in everything else. Like, wow, why would I ever want to replace my current cape that gives me pretty decent stats and everything? Why in the world would I trade this out? Yeah. If I got rid of my cape, I couldn't even use the majority of my abilities.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's no instinctive to really play these, to be honest.
Yeah, if you don't get higher, stat armors or stuff like that. Their stats are different and bad. Yeah, you would think that, because they're DLCs, that means they're going to be stronger than what's in game. Nope, that's a disappointment.
Yeah, the DLC, like, each one costs, like, $9.99 each? If you buy the season pass, it's $24, I think.
Yeah. And
for $9.99 each, not really worth it.
No.
If they just added new rewards and new, cooler-looking weapons that function differently, then yeah, sure, the depth itself is nothing great. It's nothing good either, I would say. But at least it'll be something.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's Code Vein. The main game itself is fine. If you're into anime, you probably get a really good kick out of this. There's plenty of fan service, that's for sure. Yeah. And so, like I say, if you like anime and Dark Souls, you might get a really good kick out of it. But if you're looking for something the same level of quality of any of the Dark Souls games, you're going to probably be very disappointed in that aspect. The story feels too short, not enough lore's going on. The world is boring, doesn't have its own narrative or visually interesting. The characters, monsters, and creatures and bosses look really cool, they don't have much character. And the weapons you get, there's not much variety of them. And the armors, again, that's also another problem. There isn't much variety of them. And so you're kind of stuck with a game that feels like it's not complete.
Yeah, it feels like it needs more time in the oven.
And it's also still being charged $60 on the PlayStation Store. Like,
that's why we waited for it on sale.
Yeah, thank goodness we waited on sale. If I bought this game for $60, I'd probably be a lot more angry. Because I could buy games for a cheaper price and get a lot better time. Hell, I recently bought Doom Eternal for a much cheaper price, or for the same price, and I'm having a way better experience with that.
Yeah.
The only fun I really had with it was playing with Hana here. That's like, role playing, running around. That was a lot of fun. But you have to deal with the game's bugginess, the short story that only has a really cool concept, and that's it. So to sum up Code Vein, it has a cool concept with fun gameplay and some boss fights, but the environment's boring, story's too short, not enough lore, and some of the bosses kind of suck.
And certain things that are in the story
don't ever get touched upon again.
Yep.
And the music's either cringy, try hard, or doesn't fit.
Yeah.
So, that's what we think of Code Vein. If I had to give it a rating, I'm stuck between a 5 or a 6. Well, yeah.
I was thinking of a 5.
A 5? You were thinking a 5?
Yeah.
What's your reason for a 5?
Well, there's a lot more negative about it than positive. And the thing that I kept saying throughout the whole entire time we were playing is I felt like it was a missed opportunity in certain parts, and the outcomes of certain things weren't executed right. Great ideas, but they needed to go about it in a different way. I feel like whoever they had writing, or if they were limited, or I don't know what it was, but it overall doesn't feel like a really well told story with really impactful endings. It was just all kind of okay.
It was okay.
That's basically to describe Code Vein. It's okay.
Like, it has fun gameplay. It's there. The core concept is there, but it doesn't have enough, I guess you could say, nutrients to sprout. I word that very weirdly, but you get the idea.
It's fun in game.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. Let me put this perspective. Code Vein actually came out in 2019. I thought this actually came out before Dark Souls 3, but Dark Souls 3 came out in 2016. It still looks better. Plays, I would argue, probably even plays better.
Yeah.
It has.
Oh yeah. There's one thing we forgot.
What's that?
We forgot to mention when you attack, you can't turn and attack.
Oh, okay. There's a couple more things we gotta mention real quick. A couple more problems we gotta mention. When you're attacking at times, you can't turn around and attack. You're stuck going that one direction until you stop.
Yeah.
And for some unknown reason, I don't know why, maybe a parasite got into their brain and told them that you can only guard in one direction.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can't turn your character when you're guarding. You're stuck in one direction.
Yep.
It's like, who thought this was a good idea? That should only happen when you're locked onto an enemy.
Yeah.
Not when you're just freely moving around.
Oh yeah, speaking of the lock-ons, this game suffers from a depth problem. When you try to lock onto something close to you, it likes to lock onto something far away.
I already mentioned that. I already did.
You did?
Yeah, way earlier. I mentioned that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's alright. It's alright. So, okay. I believe that's everything now. Just to wrap it up, Dark Souls 3 came out in 2016, does everything better than Code Vein did. And
Except
Code Vein...
The only good grace for Code Vein is that it's co-op friendly.
Yes. But you only have one friend on your side in an NPC. You can't have two. Honestly, I would prefer to have 2 friends over an NPC because the NPCs don't shut up unless you tell them to.
Yeah, and that's even
a trophy.
Behind a trophy where you're forced to listen to them if you want the trophy.
Yeah, that's only if you care. I just did it real quick because, just get it over with. I don't see myself 100% in this game. I don't see myself doing that. I don't know if I'm going to really touch this game again because we saw all the endings, felt disappointed. There's not really much. There's no real in-game to play, no in-game content to play with. No real new game content to play with.
Look, we got all the endings and we did everything.
And we essentially saw everything this game had to explore, and we're just kind of just feel a little disappointed. So, yeah, I'm just going to agree with you on this. It's a
meh.
Yeah, it's like a 5 out of 10. it could have been much better. The DLCs, if I had to rate those by themselves, I'd probably just give those like a 3. The only thing, the reason
the rewards are not
worth it. Let me just put that. I take that back. The DLC is not a 3; it's a 1, because it's not worth buying. If they just
they gave us new outfits, new blood veils. New blood codes.
We do get new blood codes, but
only one.
No, there's a couple you do get. Get when you beat the boss, you unlock a new blood code. But these blood codes don't have any story significance to them, and they cost a lot to unlock, and they require S-level stats to use.
Oh yeah.
So
that's all locked to your code, to your outfit.
Yeah, outfits and what you're wearing.
Your armor.
Yeah, So before we go back and rambling about everything again, so 5 out of 10 DLC. It's not worth it unless you really want to challenge yourself against giant bosses. But, yeah.
Don't expect anything great.
Don't expect anything great from Code Vein. Hopefully, if they do a sequel, they learn from every previous mistake and improve on it. Because I would still like to see a sequel.
Yeah, I would like to see where this story is going. And if they really, really go... I want them to go kind of scary, scary, uncomfortable.
Yeah, like the horror.
Bring like some horror... end of the world stuff.
Yeah, this game has a completely tone conflict. One moment it's trying to be dark and serious. Next moment it's like, howdy there, friends.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a tone there, but alright, that wraps it up. Have you guys played Code Vein yet? What'd you think of it? Do you agree? Did you like it? What'd you like about it? What'd you hate about it? Let us know in the comment section down below.
And also, too, if they ever make a number 2, what would you like to be in number 2? Is there any bugs or problems you ran into that you wish that they would address?
Hopefully that rolling glitch gets taken care of.
Oh my god.
That one sucks. Well, anyways, thanks for joining us for this BagoCast. We hope to see you guys next time.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.